Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Custom Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster who wanted to know how to create a text that will be showing the video beneath the letters. So we're going to create this in our kind of old school way using Photoshop Elements. So let's get to it, and we'll give us a blank new slate. And basically what we want to do is bring in a race car. So I'm going to bring this bottom layer in. I'll turn off the white for a second. And this is our new Formula One race car. And we're going to start softening the whole image by putting a white layer right above it. And let's go ahead and lessen the opacity to, I don't know, let's say, let's see, if I just keep on bringing it down, I'd say 44%. That's pretty good right there. Next, I'm going to bring in the text, which is going to be legend text, and it's colored gray so that we can edit out portions later. So in trying this, I just copied the text so I can use that as a glow later. So I'm going to duplicate the text right here and turn off the bottom layer here and just work with the top first. I'm going to right click and choose Edit Layer Style. And basically we got two things. We're not going to use the glow here because I told you it doesn't work very well in this portion of elements. But we can do the bevel and the stroke. So let's do the bevel. And this looks good right there at 45 degrees at about 9%. I can bring it up like this, but that's too big. I can bring it down and it's not enough. So maybe let's make that like 10. That looks good. Next we'll go to the stroke. And it by default it's at 1 pixel and it's black. Black is good, but we want it to be a little bit thicker. We can bring that up. That's too thick. Let's just type in, let's say 6. That looks even better. I'm going to hit OK. And what I want to do is really important because we have to marry this with the background later. So I need to simplify this layer so that it is a graphic. Now remember, we have two different effects on. That means we have to simplify it twice. See this little effects over there? We want to get rid of that when it's simplified, when it turns it into a graphic. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit simplify layer. Now guess what? It's still there because we did two effects. So let's do it again. Right click and simplify layer. And now it turned off and now it's just one graphic. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Turn the bottom one on. And of course we can double click because it is text and change its color over here to red. I'll hit OK. And there it is. As soon as I hit OK, now we can see that it's fully red. I'm going to turn on that top layer again. If we were to lock that top layer, that's a graphic now, go down to our new red layer, and I'll come down here, I'll right click and choose Edit Layer Style, and I'll do a new stroke. I can change that one up to like that just so I can see it. I'll change the black to a red, and there you see the red outline. Now that's too much right there, so I'm just going to give it a little bit, about a 12 point. That looks pretty good. See, it's nice and strong, but it's not fuzzy. That's what we're going to do next. I'll hit OK. We have the top layer, and then we have the bottom layer red, but the bottom layer is still hard on the edges. So let's go ahead and take that bottom layer, go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and there we go. Look at that. We can change that to lesser or higher and get a nice glow that we want. I think a little bit less, like 7.0 is perfect. That looks really nice. If I turn off the background, you can see what the effects is giving us, and we like that. So let's go ahead and turn that background on again. There's the image, the background image of the race car. Here's the white. Now what we have to do is marry these together before we take it over into Premiere Pro. So now what I want to do is marry these four images. I can right click and hit flatten image, and that basically marries everything all together. I can turn that whole image on. Once I unlock it, I can turn on or off. But there is one more step before we send it over, because if we send it over to Premiere Pro like it is right now, these gray letters are going to stay gray. So what we want to do is open a hole in these. So what we want to do is do that with the eraser. We come down here and there's a regular eraser. You want to pick the little eraser with the yellow star over here, and that allows us to choose any portion throughout the image to erase. Anything that's the same color will be erased. Right now the tolerance is set to 50. That's probably going to be too much because look, we lost the bevel. we want to keep that bevel. So I'm going to undo that and change that 50 to actually down to a 5 tolerance. And if I click in here, look at that. The edge of the bevel is still there. All I have to do is do that to all of these. And that cuts a hole. You see the checkerboard behind that. Anything that is behind in a lower layer is going to show right through. That is, of course, if we save this whole image as what? A PNG. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to do a PNG right down here on the desktop and call it Legend Take 1 and save it as a PNG. Save. Now we're going to go to part 2 of this short tutorial and show you how to bring it into Adobe Premiere Pro. So here we are on part 2 of our short tutorial, and this is Premiere Pro CC version. And basically we have our playback panel right here, the input bin right here, and we have our effects bin over here, and we got our timeline down here. I already imported a clip of a race car here. I got a 30-second clip here, and you can see it's got a nice little effect in, and I can scroll through it, and that's all there is to it. So we want to bring in our text. I'm going to reach outside over to our desktop, and I've got a couple of texts. As I drag them in, I can let go, and there they are. I got Legend and Formula 1 here, as you can see. I'm going to bring in the Legend down to our timeline, and because it was a PNG, you can already see right through it, but we want to make sure that it's the right size. So if I right click on that and choose scale to frame size, it'll basically scale the whole image down to frame size. I'm going to bring this down over to here, and let's bring the Formula 1 in also and do the same thing. I'll right click and scale it to frame size. And now we got 2 of these. I'm going to pull this in till it snaps right there. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to line these up, and this is kind of where I want the first image to start. And I'll just kind of cut it in half here and have it change at the end actually to Formula 1. Like this. Now we want to do is add an effect. I've pre-selected an effect over here in the effects panel. There's one that's called cross zoom, and I'm going to bring that effect into our image. I'll double click on that and make that 1 second long, or 100 frames actually. And let's put a pop motion at the end. So I'll change that cross to a pop, and here's our pop motion image over here. I'll double click on that and make that 45 frames long. And right here in the middle, let's do like a flip motion. I'm going to type in flip, and that comes in the flip motion. We'll drag that down in between the two. I'm going to double click, and let's make that like 45 frames. So basically what this does is it automatically puts the lower layer, this one down here, I can turn that one on and off for you, and see that whatever shows through, because it's a PNG, the checkerboard was underneath those letters that we had erased. So I turn that back on, and we can literally play it, and it's all ready to go. And here we go. And so as you can see, that is how you create an image on Photoshop Elements to bring into Premiere Pro. The important thing is to be able to cut out the images where you want it to show through of the letters so that you see this checkerboard in the background. And the second most important is to save it as a PNG. Therefore, everything else is going to be your foreground, and whatever is inside the holes is going to be the background. And that's all there is to it. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Rich calling it quits, saying over and out.